some of these fighters, when you go to talk to them, they like to price themselves out or ask for way too much money, and that's sort of their excuse for not making the fight happen.
There's different ways to turn fights down. I can call and say, hey, you want this fight? No, I don't want this fight. Or you can say, yeah, for $800,000 in a piece of pay-per-view. That's turning down the fight.
I think there's a movement moving forward that is going to show that fighters should be getting paid more. It's unfair. The UFC fighters don't have fair pay. Out of all the sports, the percentage that the owners get versus the athlete, they're the lowest. Francis Ngannou versus John Jones, that fight should happen. Dana White, pay them the $10 million. He's taking their money. They're the ones making the content. They're the ones getting in the ring, risking their life. Chris Weidman goes in, snaps his leg in half. What's that look like? He may never be able to fight again and provide food for his family. These fighters are risking their lives. You can quite literally die in the ring, and they need to be compensated more. And I'm a big proponent of that movement and being in control.
Listen, I can sit here all day and tell you, what show me the money mean. I tell you guys this all the time. If you can say you want to fight somebody, but do you really want to?
So, Dana's just blocking everyone. He's being greedy. As I go, and part of me wants to become a world champion, just to say I did it and to prove everyone wrong, which would just, like, if you think about it on so many different levels, it'd just be hilarious and, like, it'd be historic. So I would just, like, get the belt and be like, yo, I became a world champion, and then kick the belt into the fucking crowd and not give a fuck about it and be like, yo, fuck all of you guys who doubted me. I just became a world champion for the fuck of it, and now I'm retiring. So it would be a lot of punishment for him, and I wouldn't want to take out the old guy. And part of me is like, there's a thing about Jake Paul fighting old guys and, like, retired guys, and Ben Askren and Tyron and whatever. People are trying to make excuses. Floyd Mayweather's 40-something years old when he beat Conor McGregor, but
what will you come into the ring weighing tomorrow night? Do you have an idea?
A lot bigger than him.
170?
I'd say close to 170, yes.
When I fight a 39-year-old, people get mad. So part of me is like, if I were to just fight Anderson Silva again, everyone would just be like, oh, just another old guy after I beat him. So it's kind of like a lose-lose situation because, if you win, you're like, oh, he's just the old guy, whatever. He's retired, da-da-da. He's washed up. So I don't know, but definitely could be interesting if he undergoes the testing and we could figure something out.
It is interesting, though. We talked about Jorge, Vitor, Nathan, you smiled at, Anderson, Tommy's but it's a lot of MMA guys. Unless you're holding out on some boxing guys from me, it feels like maybe the MMA thing is going to continue.
But perhaps, the audience there is just so strong, and the names there are bigger, right? We're taking the years of hard work that the UFC put into promoting these guys, and they have big names. So, a lot of times on the boxing side, there's not as many big names. There's just not when you compare apples to apples. So it's a little bit harder to make a fight, but we'll see what happens.
In fighting Anderson Silva?
I think it'd be a huge fight for sure. He's a legend of the sport. Great head movement, great striking. For me, I would love it. I have nothing but respect for Anderson. I watched him growing up and was a fan of his growing up. So it'd be cool to, sort of get in there and see what would happen. However, there is the side of it that's like he's 46 or 47 years old. And so for me, I would want him to go through lots of testing to make sure that he's actually good to get into the ring. I wouldn't want some shit that just happened with like Vitor and Holyfield. He's like 22, 23 years older than me. So he's out there looking good against these older guys, Tito Ortiz and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I'm sorry, but I'm built different.
Okay. So if it was up to you, your call, money aside, challenge-wise, who's at the top of the list? Who would be your choice for the next opponent?
I mean, honestly, just from a personal standpoint, I would love for it to be Masvidal. And, you know, that's an option. I think it would be great to fight a quote-unquote real boxer, because that's what people are saying is like, fight a real boxer, fight a real boxer. Okay, dude, I no problem. But his team has to be smart with their negotiations and not fuck around if they want to make it happen. He's one of the fighters that I'm talking about where like they can just try to price themselves out. So, you know, the notion that these MMA fighters think that I'm scared of them is funny, or that I'm running away. Like, dude, like, guys, I have fought 4 times in the past 2 years. That you can't really even fight more than that if you're doing big fights. Like, I am going back to back on these bitch ass MMA fighters. Like, line them up, I will take all of them down. You guys cannot box. I outboxed a 5-time UFC fucking champion. Vitor Belfort didn't even get close to winning that many championships. The notion that you guys are scared, you guys cannot box for shit. There was not one moment in the fight where Tyron was outboxing me. Not one. The notion that you guys are scared, I just took on one of your best fighters, Hall of Fame of all time, and shit all over him on a bad night with a hyperextended elbow. So fuck all of you.
Very much. Can you clear up the drug testing thing for us? Tyron said he wasn't sure what was going on fight night. Did you get drug tested? What happened?
Yeah, no, I got drug tested. Peed in the cup, did the whole 9 yards. I mean, the usual.
Speaking of bumps,
went right over it.
Those little bumps you had on your face kind of alarmed me. You wouldn't be having to take PEDs, are you?
Listen, if you want to build in excuses right now,
no, I'm just asking.
Go ahead.
Because I was just wondering. I looked at your face and looked kind of serious. You had some rage and you acting all unorthodox. You know, those are signs of the PEDs.
I'm enraged. I'm not enraged at all.
Are you taking PEDs?
No, sir.
Not at all. Okay.
No, sir. We're getting drug tested.
You got a couple people in your camp that you might want to evaluate. See how solid they are.
Are we getting drug tested?
You're going to get hit with a whole bunch of culture. And your whole jawline going to shift. That long jawline, probably from PED.
I don't want to say, but I think that's a major factor. When I tell you guys he's bigger and stronger and he's more athletic, I think it's basically he's going to be on PEDs.
And I Googled what's PEDs. And I swear to God, I swear on my mom's life.
I hate to say it, but I definitely think Jake Paul is going to be on PEDs. It exists in the world of boxing just like it exists in MMA. And I don't think Tyrone will be on PEDs. I think Tyrone will be totally natural. Does it make a difference? It absolutely does.